if we have to move it like a little bit. So you see these segments, these rows of segments going this way. We want to just have our Y follow this line going all the way back, and our X going down that kind of like where that contour is headed. So we're gonna rotate this like this, and let's move it to this line right here. Okay. Let's rotate this a little bit more so that the controller is not sticking in the face. Make sure it is just above the skin. We might need to pull this out a little bit more, and we will. So let's move this on Z just a little bit. Oh man, I just got a taste for some pizza, but I know I got food in the fridge. Pizza. It's one of those days. One of those days. All right, getting all crazy with the camera here. I think I need to rotate this down a little bit more. All right, I like this. I like this. I like this. Save. Actually, let's save another version. Save scene as. Let's do this as number 14. Just because we're adding some new stuff. And we should be able to mirror this since it's the head to the head. And we just want it to be on both sides. It should be pretty easy to mirror. Once we do our 180 and then move it over. All right, so remember the name of this is cheek left expand. So we're gonna do cheek right expand. So let's do another joint. This one's gonna be to the head. Cheek right expand to the head. Create. Same values. Let's get our snippet tool. Select this one. And we're just going to copy these values over to our other controller for the right side. So we can get that started. -7.341. And I'm not going from a script or anything, so I want this to be as real and genuine as possible. You know, we've already had a few very, very minor pitfalls, and these are things that can happen to anybody. You know, I missed a decimal on something, but then we just had to put the decimal on it. But I just want to make sure this is all from like just off the top. I think it comes across better. It should be as if we were sitting with one another and actually doing this work together. The only thing you have is that you can pause and, you know, go back and stuff, which is awesome. But I didn't want to overly structure this. Then it becomes like so robotic where you can just do a tutorial somewhere else online, you know, where you're just reading it and following it. I think this will be more organic and more digestible. I'm still putting in my values, as you should be too. 693, and then -90.658, and 0.15. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to bring this over to the other side of the cheek. Save your file. I'm going to do this like this. So let's move it out, rotate it. Oops, don't want to set a key, undo that. Move it out, rotate it, move it out. All right, so now let's look and see what values we need to change so that we get this in a better position. So right off the bat, our X, we should have this 5.896. We should have this at negative 7.341. We should have this at 174.664. And you see how I did that? Instead of me just rotating and moving and it's all weird, I just moved it. I just moved it from one side of the face along the face over to where I know I want it to be, and then I'm just taking these values and then matching the left, right, or negative and positive values to make sure that it's working, and that it's consistent as if it was mirrored. So now we're gonna look at our rotation X. Good. Okay. So over here, it's a negative 60. So we're gonna do a positive 60. So we're gonna do 60.158, and then on Y, values are the same, 126.693. All right, and then this one is the same, negative 90. All right, so this should be a mirrored version. It should be a mirrored version once I do my 180 flip on it. But for right now, let's see if we select it. We can move up and down. Ooh, I don't think I want to do 180 flip because you want this to be like this is the whole expand part. And then if we do this, crap. So you do want it. You do want it like that, but you want your puffs to be out the same. That's why you're making this one. So you got to make choices. Do you want your puffs to be the same where you can go, or do you want it to be able to be moved exactly the same? You can get your up and down the same and your out the same, but your Y is not the same. So here's the dilemma. If you switch your Y so that it moves along the cheeks the same, what you're going to have is your puff is going to go like this. This one's going to go in, and this one's going to go out, and it's going to go the other way. So set it how you feel you want it to work for your character. If you want it to be the puffs work like how it is right here, where you can go, you know, puff out, puff in, puff out, puff in. Leave it how it is. If you want to set it up where you have it where it conforms and moves like this, but the same way, you're going to want to flip this one at 180. And so your problem will be 180 minus 60.158. I think that's what the math would be. Let me see. Yeah. And you put the difference in there, and then that'll flip this 180, much like what we did for the eyebrows and what we did for the lips. I'm going to leave this where the puffs are out, because as long as I can still do this, the up and down matches, that's fine. I think that's fine. Now, if you're doing even crazier rig, what you would want to do is something even different than that. You would want to probably have different controllers for each thing you're going to want to do for the face control you want. So you'll have a puff and expanse. You'll have all these different controllers, and then that'll be set up separately onto your control picker. And your control picker will probably switch out how things move and how things work when you set that up. The cool thing about this is that this will give us a control picker. We just need to lay the stuff out, and I'll show you that later. But that's why we're going and taking the time to do this. Okay, now we're going to save our file, and then let's save it as another version. So we're going to save as, and we're going to do this as number 15. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add some tongue controls in there. Teeth controls, man, I don't think you need them. The lower teeth, if this was cartoony, you probably would need teeth controls, like super cartoony. For this, I believe we'll only need to have tongue controls. So our tongue control, like I said, is going to start in the back center of the tongue, mid-tongue, and then tip of the tongue. You know, and that's just so you can like just move it around a little bit. For the jaw and the teeth, the lower teeth go with the jaw. So that's going to be rigged to the jaw. And you're going to want that to the jaw. I'm not putting a bone in there because it's just you're either not going to key it, which means you're not going to use it, which means you're wasting your joint, or you're going to end up having swimming teeth and it's going to look broken. You're going to go, and it's going to look, you got dentures floating around in your mouth, like, you know, some grandma or grandpa or whatever. That's not what you want. It's gonna make it more difficult. If you don't have the pose correct around the mouth so that the teeth look correct, that means your pose is incorrect. So that we'll talk about that when we get on to phonemes and stuff, because a lot of people make huge mistakes when they talk about setting up their phoneme poses. Um, it's like they don't visualize the space in the mouth correctly and what's actually happening. Um, but we'll talk about that later. Now we are going to Control S. And I want to select and add these to this invisible layer so they're not in our way. Let's see if we can see our tongue well. I think we can. I think we can do it. This may look like a mess to a lot of people, but I can see what's going on here. And hopefully you can see what's going on here too. And what I'm talking about is you can see where the tongue is at. The tongue is right here. Ooh. Tongue goes right here, right? And then it cuts across back here somewhere. So let's just do this to see. Face. There we go. So have it selected, which is not good. We should deselect that. But there's our tongue. So if we go to our top view, which is where we probably want to go, and then go to wireframe, now you can see right where the tongue is at. All right, we just want to put 3 joints along there, maybe 4. Maybe 4. But here's the difference about the tongue. You don't want the tongue just to the head. You want the tongue to the jaw, but then you want each additional tongue joint to the previous tongue joint because of how you want the tongue to work. All right? So it's not going to be like how we did the bottom lip where those are just to the jaw. Okay? So let's stay in this view, which is our top view. We want to deselect stuff by just clicking off into the world and then go back to object mode. And so you can still see your tongue. It's right here. It's right there. So let's go and create another controller. Let's do a joint. And it's going to be tongue. Select jaw. Joint jaw. And we want to call this, we're going to have 3 bones. We can do tongue 1, 2, 3. That's pretty simple. 1 being the one in the very back. And then working our way out. Let's see, what other ways do they name the tongue? You can do back, center, front. Right? I think I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. There's only 1 tongue in the character, and the order signifies where it is in the mouth. Yeah. So let's do that. So we do tongue 1. Yeah. Let's do O1 to be consistent with everything else. I see there's O1 and O2 for the neck. So let's just do that to be consistent. So we're going to do O2, O3, O4. So get this in spot first, which is going to be super easy, right? So let's get this in the spot first. Create. You're going to have to move back through your other views to make sure this is good. I would leave that like how it is right here. Let's see, where is our rotation? Let's see. We're going to want to look at our tongue. And do we want to use a different shape? Different proxy shape? No. 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 Let's use a sphere for this.